Hey guys, Jeremiah with Steps Pressure Washing and More, and I want to talk to you a little bit about something that's been on my mind a lot lately, is why small businesses fail and how to prevent it. Okay, so a little bit of backstory on why this is on my mind so much right now is because this has been probably our worst off season in a couple years, and I am definitely paying a lot of attention to our financials just to make sure that we are going in the right direction and we have enough to bridge the gap. So I want to go over a few things of why the small businesses fail and how you can prevent that today. Hey guys, Jeremiah with Steps Pressure Washing and More. I want to talk to you today about why small businesses fail and how you can prevent your business from being one of them. According to an article from PNC Bank, 82% of small businesses that failed because they ran out of capital or were not bringing in enough money to meet their needs. So I'm going to go over a few things today that I do that has helped us prevent going under and not knowing that it was coming. I'm going to go through 6 things that will help you stay out of that failed business category. Now, I can't guarantee that you won't end up in a failed business, but I can say that these things have helped us out along the way. So make sure you're doing some of them and tweak them to your needs as well, just to make sure that it is fulfilling the needs of your business individually. If you find this video helpful or entertaining at all, just please give us a thumbs up down below and subscribe for more content like this. It really helps the channel out. Number 1, you should have a business plan. Before you get started, you should definitely have in writing what your objectives are, what your objectives will be, and kind of a roadmap of how you feel would be best to get there. This business plan should also dictate several things, including how the owner will get paid, how the employees will get paid, and what your budgets are. And we'll get into that in just a moment, but you should kind of have an idea already before you start the business on how much money is going to go into it and how much money is going to come back out of it. Number 2, this one I love having a budget, and I really think that you should too. If you don't, hey, it's quick and easy. Go on to Google Sheets. It's free. That's what I use for all of my spreadsheets is Google Sheets. So make sure you go on there. They even have like a little budget setup that you can tweak to your needs. And it's quick, it's simple, and it will really help you kind of get a better grip on where your money is going and where it's coming from. So definitely get yourself a budget, update it weekly, update it monthly, update it annually, whatever you need to do. I definitely have monthly budgets, I have quarterly budgets, and I have annual budgets. That way I can kind of pause and see where I am and then make adjustments to see where I need to get to in order to meet those year-end goals. So definitely make sure you have some sort of a budget in place. And again, Google Sheets is free, and you can just go on there, make yourself a budget. It should only take you a couple hours. And this is where you're going to have things like your average cost per customer on, your advertising, on your supplies and equipment, on your insurance. You definitely want to make sure you've got everything of the money going out broken down to where you know how much you need to go. So I know if I'm spending $45 per new customer gained by ads and I want to get 100 new customers this year, I'm going to spend $4,500 on average to get those new 100 customers. And if I know that's how much it's going to cost me, I know that that's how much money I need to set aside for advertising. That way I don't have, at the end of the year, I only got 20 new customers and I just don't know how because I only spent enough to get 20 customers. Definitely having a budget and being able to track where your money is going and whether or not you are going to make the profit that you're expecting to make, a year before you end up with, $200 in your bank account and saying, I just don't know how I didn't make any profit. I worked all year. Number 3, have a business bank account. So what I did right after I actually started getting paid for houses is I went and opened a business checking account. That way I was able to separate the money coming into the business and going out of the business from my personal account. And that was a huge lifesaver in being able to monitor everything going in and out, as well, knowing what I could budget for. So if I had money left over at the end of the month, I didn't say, hey, I've got money left over, I'm going to go and buy a new TV, or I'm going to go on vacation because I made so much money this month. So I think it's very important to separate your money and the business money so that you know that you're not going to spend an extra $500 this month on advertising, and then you can't pay your mortgage, or then you can't pay your truck payment, or you didn't know that that wasn't really money that was set aside for the business. So if it's in the business checking account, you know that that's assigned to the business, and your personal checking account is not to be spent on business, and vice versa. So one account pays the other account for your services. And that's how I do it with me. I pay myself out of my business checking account so that I can pay my own bills. And that way also I have record, because I have checks from my business bank account, and I can keep track of that very easily with how much I paid myself, how much I paid in taxes, just by keeping track of my actual checkbook. Number 4. So this one is actually one that I am really proud of myself, and that is something that I know a lot of people would refer to it as envelopes, so I guess we'll call it as envelopes. So I have a business checking account, but then I opened up a business savings account last year because I was actually making enough profit to have something left over substantial. So what I did was, when I opened up the business savings account, I started a Google Sheets spreadsheet, and all it has what my revenue coming in is, what my expenses were for the month, what my profit was, and then I break that down into several categories. So I have money that I set aside every month out of my profit for taxes. I have money that I set aside every month for an emergency fund. I have money that I set aside every month for a owner's pay, and I'll get into that in just a moment. I have money that I set aside every month for equipment replacement and repairs. And I have money that I set aside every month for unassigned profit. And a few things I want to touch on with this is, my owner's pay account has come in very handy, because I can actually see kind of how far out I can go without making any more profit and still be able to pay myself. And so right now I know that I have until the end of May to make more profit. And if I don't make any more profit between now and the end of May, I will empty my owner's pay envelope, where I have set aside a certain amount of money to pay myself if there's not profit coming in. Again, I also have the emergency fund. I have the unassigned profit that I can then pull from, kind of robbing Peter to pay Paul scenario. So I'm not necessarily going to go out of business in the end of May if I don't have another pressure washing job, but I would also like to not run out of money. So I'm thinking April and May, I'm going to really have to make a huge impact on my budget and my bottom line, so that we have a little bit more to go through the summer slump. Another thing that I really like about this is that I already have predetermined how much money I'm going to set aside for taxes. Last year, I set aside 20% of my of all of my profit. I set aside 20%, and out of that, I actually came up short. So I have now allocated an extra 5% to that, so that I now am saving 25% of my profit to be able to pay federal and state taxes. Now, last year, I had the unassigned profit category that was able to make up for the shortfall in my taxes category. And as well, I have the emergency fund that if it ever happened, I could pay my taxes out of that. But I would rather save that for a rainy day or damage to someone's property. I really hope it never happens. But if it does happen, I want to know that I'm going to be able to, fix someone's window if it breaks, or repair someone's carpet if they left a window open and all of my SH sprayed all over their bedroom. And if I do have to pay for damages somewhere, I have some money set aside so that I don't have to say, well, I had to pay for that repair. Now we didn't make profit. And now because we didn't make profit, I don't get paid. Because I didn't get paid, my mortgage doesn't get paid, and the whole thing falls apart. So I want to make sure that I have something set aside for a rainy day for many different scenarios. So my equipment replacement fund would cover a replacement of a pressure washer or my trailer, or when a hose breaks, I take money out of that fund so that I don't have to take money out of the profit for that month. And that has worked very, very well. And I highly encourage you to have an envelope spreadsheet where when you are making profit, you set some money aside for different categories. That way you have something saved for a rainy day. Number 5, I'm not going to really talk a whole lot about this one because It's really, really basic. And that is have insurance before you start washing anything. One of the biggest things I would say is a lot of people will say, well, I'm going to get insurance once I have a little bit of money coming in and I can afford it. And you're going to make the most mistakes when you are fresh, when you're early on and you are inexperienced. So the last thing you want to do is wait until you're really experienced and then get insurance, because that's not really when you're going to damage things. You still might, but it's not when you're really, really highly likely to go out and damage someone's property. So have insurance day one. That way you don't sink your ship before you have anything to show for it. Number 6, and this one is something that I have a hard time with sometimes, and that is being humble in every category except for marketing. I would say, having the nicest truck was something that I really pined over for my first few years in business. Was I wanted a nicer truck, and I wanted to have, the decals on the side of the truck rather than just the truck magnets, and I wanted to have an 8-gallon per minute machine, and I wanted to have a lot of things. I definitely would say, having a uniform is very important, but it may not be your number one priority. If you can't afford to market, I would say market first, buy uniforms later. Spending as much money as possible on client acquisition is the key to staying financially stable, because if you don't have enough money coming in, you don't have enough money to put out into your bills and expenses. And there are going to be some fixed expenses in your business that you just have to pay every month. And that is one including yourself. So definitely make sure you are humble in everything you can be, except for in your marketing. Be as aggressive as you can afford to be in marketing, and be as humble as you can be in every other category, and maintain a profitable and reputable business. So I'm definitely not saying go out and be unprofessional. I'm definitely not saying, don't buy a reliable truck. But I would say if you have the option between buying the nicer truck or paying for more advertising, the obvious answer is you should be marketing more, and that way you can get more clients in to set yourself up for the next couple years of repeated business. All right, well, that's all I have for you guys today. I hope some of you found this informational and it benefited you. And again, if you're still watching, please just, hit that subscribe button. It really helps out the channel. And I'll see you next time. Y'all be safe out there.